Eventually, they found Pitcairn, a bald, lifeless rock lost in the vast ocean wastes. Pitcairn's actual position was almost legendary. Even today, Pitcairn is far from the ocean lanes used by travelers.
Alone on a remote island, one man finds himself as the only inhabitant surrounded by a community of women. Pitcairn Island, where history, isolation, and beautiful landscapes converge. Behold yourselves to witness the unique story that this isolated island has to offer. In the early 1790s, when the crew of the Bounty ship landed on Pitcairn Island, they were surprised to find signs of a previous civilization. The island was scattered with clues of Polynesian people who had lived there before. They discovered rough stone statues, carved images of animals and people on cliffs, human skeletons in burial sites, and tools like stone blades. These stone gods and artifacts had been deliberately destroyed or given away over time, but some can still be found today. It is believed that these Polynesian seafarers might have come from Mangravia, an island about 490 kilometers away in French Polynesia. The island's European discovery happened in 1767 when Captain Philip Carteret on the ship HMS Swallow saw it. He called it Pitcairn's Island after a young man named Pitcairn, who was the son of a marine officer. However, Captain Carteret couldn't land due to the rough seas, and his navigation was a bit off. Interestingly, Captain Cook later tried to find the island but got distracted by scurvy among his crew. Pitcairn Island could have been just another stop for whalers looking for supplies, but its destiny turned out to be unique. In 1789, Fletcher Christian and some crew mutinied, leaving Bligh and 18 loyal crew members adrift in a boat. Fletcher Christian's actions have been questioned. The mutineers sought a new home and tried settling in Tubuai and Tahiti but faced some conflicts. Eventually, they split, with some staying in Tahiti and others searching for an uninhabited island. Fletcher Christian cut anchor cables secretly, leaving some behind, and sailed with Polynesian companions to an unknown destination. After the mutiny on the Bounty ship, the mutineers set out on a long and challenging journey to find a new home. They sailed through the Pacific, visiting places like the Cook Islands, Tonga, and Fiji. It's believed they might have been the first Europeans to spot Rarotonga. Their journey was tough, lasting nearly 4 months. Eventually, led by Fletcher Christian, they headed eastward in search of Pitcairn Island, a place they believed would keep them hidden from British authorities. However, when they reached the supposed location of Pitcairn, there was nothing but open sea. Christian persisted, zigzagging along a line of latitude until they finally spotted Pitcairn Island on January 15, 1790. Due to rough waters, they couldn't land immediately. After waiting for better conditions, Christian and some of the crew rowed ashore. The island was isolated, fertile, and welcoming. They brought livestock and supplies from the Bounty but decided to burn the ship to avoid detection. The mutineers settled in an area called Adamstown, built leaf shelters, and started farming, growing breadfruit, sweet potatoes, and yams. The land was divided among the mutineers, and the Polynesian men were treated as slaves and shared wives due to a shortage of women. Conflict arose among the Polynesian men and women, which led to betrayals and deaths. In 1791, another ship, HMS Pandora, set out to capture the mutineers, but it had its misfortunes and lost its crew members. By September 1793, several children had been born on the island. The 4 remaining Polynesian men now shared one woman, and having suffered enough for their ill treatment, the Polynesian men set out to kill the mutineers. John Williams was the first victim, followed by Fletcher Christian, John Mills, Isaac Martin, and William Brown. John Adams was shot but survived. The Polynesian men then began fighting over the women. Temua was shot dead by Manaree, and then Manaree himself was shot by William McCoy and Matthew Quintal. One of the women, possibly Terora, killed Tadahiti, and Edward Young shot Now. None of the 6 Polynesian men left behind any children. 4 European men remained: Edward Young, Matthew Quintal, John Adams, and William McCoy, along with 10 women and their children. The remaining Polynesian men turned on the mutineers, leading to more deaths. Eventually, only 4 European men and 10 women remained. For the next 4 to 5 years, life on the island was relatively peaceful, with only occasional tensions, mainly from women protesting how they were treated by men, and even attempting to leave at one point. Slowly but steadily, the men and women found common ground and harmony among themselves, paving the way for a more stable existence. However, this newfound peace was disrupted when one of the men, McCoy, who had experience in distillation, discovered how to make a potent alcoholic beverage from its plant roots. Unfortunately, this discovery took a toll on McCoy's mental state, driving him to a desperate act. He bound his own hands and feet and cast himself into the sea, where he met his end. In 1799, another mutineer, Matthew Quintal, became a threat to the community while under the influence of alcohol. To protect themselves, two of the remaining mutineers, Edward Young and John Adams, made the difficult decision to take Quintal's life. John Adams, the sole male survivor, took charge and became a devoted leader, ensuring the community's well-being. As time passed on the isolated island of Pitcairn, life took unexpected turns. After Fletcher Christian died in 1793 and before Matthew Quintal's demise in 1799, a ship was spotted near Pitcairn. Sadly, it sailed off without realizing the island was inhabited. It seemed as though the world had forgotten about this tiny community. Then in 1808, the American whaling ship Topaz stumbled upon Pitcairn Island. Captain Mayhew Folger discovered the community and reported it to England. However, due to the distractions of the Napoleonic Wars, there was little interest in their existence, and they remained isolated. Their story took an unexpected turn when the American whaling ship Topaz stumbled upon the island in 1808, but their existence went unnoticed by the rest of the world due to the distractions of the Napoleonic Wars. It wasn't until 1814 that the British ships Brighton and Tagus rediscovered them. Captain Staines and Pippon, impressed by the islanders, chose not to arrest them. With their secret revealed, Pitcairn Island garnered global attention. English missionary societies sent gifts, including Bibles, tools, and crockery. Visitors brought supplies and introduced new elements like oranges and improved housing. Life on the island began to take on a more European character. As the community grew, their leader John Adams faced challenges. He sought help for his blind wife and the education of the growing number of children, but found little support. In 1823, John Buffett, a kind-hearted shipwright, arrived and decided to stay. He introduced woodworking skills to the islanders and improved their lives. However, in 1829, a new arrival, George Hunn Nobbs, took charge, replacing Buffett as a schoolteacher and pastor. John Adams, the fatherly figure who had guided the community, passed away in 1829, followed by his wife Tayo. His legacy of transformation lived on. In 1831, the Pitcairn Islanders faced a pivotal moment when the British government decided to relocate them to Tahiti. Initially reluctant, they left their beloved island but found it challenging to adapt to Tahitian life. Infectious diseases took a toll on their community. Desperate to return home, they eventually found a way back to Pitcairn with the help of Captain William Driver in 1831, marking a victorious return to their island paradise. There you have it, the story of how one man took care of an entire island of women. Have you heard about this before? If yes, share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel for more. Thanks for watching. See you in another video.